Jason walked carefully over the rocky surface of the alien planet. The sky was not blue like Earth. It was a strange mix of green and purple, with two small moons shining faintly above. Dust swirled around his boots, and the wind carried odd smells he had never known before. Every sound felt alive: the soft rustle of alien plants, the distant roar of something big, and the faint cries of creatures hidden in the shadows. He had landed here for exploration, expecting to map the terrain and study alien plants, but not expecting danger. As he moved along a narrow path between jagged rocks, a faint sound caught his attention. It was a whimper, soft but urgent. He froze, scanning the area. The light from his helmet glowed on something small and trembling. It was a creature unlike anything he had seen. Its fur shimmered slightly, reflecting the strange light of the moons. Its legs looked weak, and one of its front limbs was bent in an unnatural angle. The creature's eyes were large and round, filled with fear and pain. Jason's first thought was caution. He had trained for dangerous situations, but the creature did not seem aggressive. Instead, it seemed confused and hurt. He knelt slowly, speaking in a calm voice. "It's okay, I won't hurt you." The creature flinched but did not run. Its breathing was shallow and it made small, whiny noises. Jason's heart tightened. He could not leave it there to suffer, even if it turned out to be dangerous. He looked around. There were no signs of other creatures, no shelter, and no immediate danger. Using his survival skills, he gathered some soft alien leaves to make a small bed. He set the creature gently on it. Its skin and fur felt warm but slightly rough under his hands. Every movement he made, he kept his voice low and gentle, trying not to scare it further. The creature's small tail twitched nervously. Jason noticed that when he extended his hand, it cautiously sniffed him, then moved a little closer. Jason checked its leg. It was clearly broken, likely from a fall or predator attack. He had limited medical supplies, a bandage kit, some antiseptic, and basic tools. Carefully, he cleaned the wound and wrapped it. The creature whined softly but did not resist. Jason whispered, "Almost done. You'll feel better soon." The glow in its fur flickered as if it responded to his words. He realized the light changed with its mood. When it was scared or hurt, the glow was dim. When it looked at him curiously, it shimmered faintly. He decided to move it to a safer spot. He lifted the creature gently into his arms. Its body was light, and it relaxed slightly, sensing he meant no harm. Jason found a small cave nearby, hidden behind thick alien vines. The inside was dry and safe from the wind. He placed the creature down, making it a small nest with leaves and some soft moss-like plants. He sat beside it, keeping watch. The creature curled slightly, but kept its eyes on him. Hours passed, and Jason remained alert. Strange sounds echoed outside: cracks in the rocks, distant howls, and flapping noises from above. Every so often, the creature would stiffen, sensing something he could not hear. Jason realized the planet was alive with danger. It was not just survival for him, but also for this small being he had taken under his care. He named it Sparky, for the faint sparks of light that ran through its fur. Night came quickly, and the moons rose higher in the sky. Shadows moved strangely, and every noise made Jason tense. He thought about leaving, but he could not abandon Sparky now. The creature had trusted him. He shared a small portion of his ration, offering it to Sparky. Hesitantly, it sniffed the food and took small bites, glancing at him as if thankful. Jason smiled, feeling a rare connection. He knew this bond could be dangerous, especially on a planet he did not understand. Suddenly, a sharp noise echoed from the rocks above. Both Jason and Sparky froze. He looked up carefully, seeing nothing at first, but the rustling continued. Sparky growled softly, its fur glowing brighter. Jason knew something was watching. He stayed very still, holding Sparky close. Minutes passed, and nothing moved closer. He exhaled slowly, but the tension did not leave his body. He realized this was only the beginning. The planet was full of unknown creatures and dangers. Sparky's condition was fragile, and he had no idea what other beings might appear. Yet, he felt determined. He would not leave this creature behind. Saving Sparky felt important, more than just compassion. It felt like a responsibility. The bond they were forming was unique. Every movement Sparky made seemed to communicate trust, fear, and hope, all without words. Jason knew he had entered a new world, one that demanded courage and empathy, and he was ready to face it for the sake of this small glowing creature in his arms. As he sat beside Sparky, night sounds echoing all around, Jason felt both excitement and fear. He was not alone anymore. This tiny, injured creature had changed everything. The unknown challenges ahead were frightening, but the human heart had found purpose in caring for the small being, unaware that this simple act of kindness would soon bring him into contact with beings of great power and royalty. The faint glow from Sparky's fur illuminated their little shelter, a symbol of hope in the dark alien night. Jason awoke to the soft hum of the alien forest around him, the faint glow of Sparky's fur casting dancing shadows across the cave walls. The night was quiet, but it felt alive, filled with hidden movements and distant whispers. He shifted carefully, making sure not to disturb the small creature curled against his chest. Its glow pulsed gently, a comforting rhythm that matched his own heartbeat. Every flicker seemed to carry emotion, gratitude, trust, and a subtle warning. Outside, the forest was bathed in a pale, eerie light from the twin moons above. Jason peered through the cave opening and saw faint movements in the undergrowth. Strange creatures watched silently from a distance, their eyes reflecting the moons like small lanterns. Jason's grip on his makeshift spear tightened instinctively. He had learned quickly that this planet was beautiful but unforgiving, and one misstep could bring deadly consequences. Sparky stirred, its ears twitching at every sound. Jason whispered softly, "It's okay, I'm right here." The creature responded with a low, vibrating hum, a sound that seemed to calm not only itself but also Jason. Its glow shifted from gentle green to a warm golden hue, as if sharing its confidence with him. He realized that Sparky was more than a companion. It was a guide, a guardian attuned to dangers he could not yet perceive. Suddenly, a shadow darted across the clearing. Jason froze, watching as a group of small, predatory creatures moved stealthily, circling closer. Their bodies were sleek, with jagged edges along their spines, and they emitted soft clicking sounds that echoed through the trees. Sparky's glow flared bright red, ears pinned back in warning. Jason knew this was not just a random encounter. These creatures were intelligent hunters, tracking movement with calculated precision. Jason took a slow, careful step forward, keeping Sparky close to his chest. "Stay calm," he murmured. The creatures hesitated at the sight of the glowing pet, as if recognizing some energy they could not comprehend. Jason felt a surge of hope. Sparky was not just vulnerable, it had power, a presence that could command respect from even the fiercest predators. The small creature chirped sharply, a sound that made the hunters pause, their clicking intensifying. As the tension built, Jason scanned the surroundings for an escape route. The terrain was uneven, dotted with glowing plants and twisted roots that could trip even the most careful walker. He spotted a narrow path leading deeper into the forest, partially hidden by shadows. It was risky, but it might be their only chance to avoid confrontation. He gently nudged Sparky, who responded with a subtle nod, its glow shifting to a determined blue. They were ready to move together. Jason advanced slowly, feeling every step, listening to the whispers of the forest. The predators followed, keeping a distance but never losing sight of their target. He kept speaking softly to Sparky, reassuring it, sharing the rhythm of his breaths. Every flicker of light from the creature's fur was a signal, guiding him through the unfamiliar terrain. The bond between them felt stronger than ever, a silent understanding that words could not convey. Suddenly, the forest opened into a small clearing illuminated by phosphorescent plants. Jason froze, realizing it was a trap. The predators had anticipated their path. Sparky's fur pulsed violently, a warning that danger was immediate. Jason's heart raced. He had faced threats before, but this was different. He was responsible not only for himself, but for Sparky, a being whose life now depended on his courage and quick thinking. Jason scanned the clearing quickly, spotting a massive tree with thick branches forming a natural platform above. It was a risky climb, but it offered safety and vantage. He whispered to Sparky, "We have to move. Now." The creature chirped in agreement, glowing with intense gold as if preparing to defend itself if necessary. Jason ran, grabbing roots and branches, hoisting himself up with all his strength, Sparky clinging tightly to him. The predators hesitated at the base of the tree, clicking and hissing, but did not attempt to climb. Jason held his breath, balancing precariously on the thick branch. Sparky's fur glowed steadily, radiating calm determination. He realized something profound. The creature's power was not just in its physical abilities, but in the way it could influence the environment, the predators, and even him. Its presence was a force that demanded respect. From their high perch, Jason surveyed the forest. The predators lingered, eventually retreating into the shadows, defeated or perhaps reassessing. Jason exhaled slowly, his muscles trembling from exertion and relief. He looked down at Sparky, who nuzzled his arm, its glow softening to a warm green. For the first time since the encounter with the princess, Jason felt a moment of peace. They had survived together, relying on trust, instincts, and an unspoken connection. Night deepened around them, and Jason realized that this planet, with all its beauty and danger, had become a test, not just of skill, but of character. Sparky was more than an injured creature. It was a guide, a protector, and now a companion in ways he had never imagined. He knew the challenges ahead would be greater, the dangers more cunning, but for this moment he allowed himself a rare sense of triumph. Together, human and alien creature, they had navigated the first trial of survival, and their bond had grown stronger, by unbreakable against the vast and mysterious world that stretched endlessly before them. The air suddenly changed, heavy and electric, as bright lights tore across the sky. Jason squinted, shielding his eyes from the unnatural glow. From the horizon, sleek alien ships descended silently, hovering just above the rocky terrain. Shadows stretched across the ground, and the soft hum of their engines sent a chill through him. Sparky stiffened in his arms, its fur pulsating rapidly with red flashes, warning him of something extraordinary. Jason's heart pounded. He had never seen technology like this, and instinctively knew they were not ordinary travelers. A tall figure stepped from the lead ship, her presence commanding. Jason could not see her features clearly through the glow, but even from a distance her posture radiated authority. She moved with elegance and precision, every motion purposeful. Surrounding her were armored guards, their weapons gleaming under the alien moons. The air vibrated with power and tension. Jason realized, with a sudden sinking feeling, that he had stumbled into something far more important than a simple planet exploration. The creature in his arms reacted immediately. Sparky's glow shifted from frantic red to a bright, vibrant yellow, as if recognizing the approaching figure. Jason held it tighter, whispering reassurances. "It's okay. I don't know who they are either." But Sparky's response was instinctive. It twitched, lifted its small body, and let out a sharp, commanding chirp. The sound echoed unnaturally, vibrating through the cave and scattering small animals hiding nearby. The figure approached cautiously, yet every step radiated authority. Jason realized he could not hide, nor could he explain Sparky's presence convincingly. The armored guards flanked her, scanning the surroundings, their eyes glowing faintly through their helmets. Jason felt trapped, his mind racing for options. "I found it injured. I helped it," he started, voice trembling slightly. But the figure stopped, lifted a hand, and Jason froze mid-word. The alien princess finally revealed herself fully. Her eyes glowed a piercing violet, and her long hair shimmered with metallic strands that caught the light of the moons. She studied Jason silently, her gaze sharp enough to feel like it could pierce his thoughts. Every movement of her body seemed deliberate, a mixture of grace and authority that left him awestruck. The guards maintained strict formation, but Jason noticed them subtly observing Sparky, tension running through their stances. Sparky's reaction intensified. Its body glowed brighter than Jason had ever seen, shifting through hues of blue and gold, spiraling along its fur like living fire. It chirped insistently, wriggling slightly as if to communicate something urgent. Jason held it closer, unsure whether the creature recognized the princess as friend or foe. The glowing fur seemed to respond to the princess's proximity, shifting in patterns that made Jason uneasy yet fascinated. The princess's voice finally broke the silence. "That is mine." The words were clear, firm, carrying authority and command. Jason's stomach dropped. He had no idea whose pet this was, much less that it belonged to someone of immense power. "I didn't know," he blurted out, holding Sparky protectively. "It was injured. I had to help it." His voice carried urgency, honesty, and a hint of fear. The princess regarded him silently, tilting her head slightly. She did not step closer immediately, but allowed Jason's words to hang in the tense air. The armored guards remained alert, but did not move. Jason could feel their scrutiny on him like physical pressure. Every instinct screamed caution, yet he could not let go of Sparky. The creature's small, glowing body nestled closer against his chest, responding to the tension around them. A subtle interaction occurred between the princess and Sparky. She reached a hand toward the creature, and for a moment it stiffened, glowing bright red in alarm. Then, unexpectedly, Sparky relaxed, its glow softening to a calm green. Jason's eyes widened in surprise. The princess nodded slightly, almost imperceptibly, acknowledging the bond that had formed. Yet her gaze remained piercing and unreadable. Jason realized this moment was a test, more than a confrontation. Every movement, every glance from the princess seemed to weigh his intentions. He tried to maintain eye contact, showing sincerity without appearing weak. "I only wanted to help. I didn't know it belonged to anyone important," he said quietly, hoping the honesty in his voice would carry more weight than words alone. The air grew thicker with tension. The alien princess stepped closer, circling them slowly, as if measuring Jason's courage and understanding. Sparky's glow pulsed in tandem with the growing unease, a living meter of the atmosphere. Jason's mind raced, calculating his next move while maintaining composure. He knew one wrong step could provoke the guards, or worse, anger the princess beyond repair. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the princess stopped directly in front of him. Her gaze softened just slightly, not entirely, but enough to convey that she was listening. She extended her hand once more towards Sparky, who chirped softly and pressed its small body against Jason's chest. Jason's grip tightened, silently promising to protect the creature no matter what came next. The princess's eyes studied him, and Jason sensed a silent challenge. "Prove your worth, human, and perhaps you will not be punished." The moment held a fragile balance of trust and power. Jason could feel the weight of the unknown on his shoulders, the authority of the princess, the loyalty of the creature, and the danger lurking in the alien night. He exhaled slowly, keeping Sparky close, knowing instinctively that the next few moments would define his place in this strange world. Every nerve in his body remained alert, every heartbeat echoing the suspense of what was about to unfold. The princess waited, patient yet commanding, as Jason prepared to face the consequences of his unintended act of kindness. The princess's eyes never left Jason as she circled slowly, her boots making no sound on the alien soil. Jason could feel the weight of her gaze pressing down on him, a mix of authority and curiosity he had never experienced before. Sparky nestled closer to him, sensing the tension, its glow dimming to a soft, wary blue. Every flicker of its light seemed to respond to the princess, like a tiny barometer of her emotions. Jason held his breath, unsure whether the next movement would provoke anger or curiosity. "I see you have a kind heart, human," she finally said, her voice calm but commanding. "Few would stop in the wilds to help a creature not their own." Jason swallowed hard. He wanted to speak, to explain further, but the words felt small and insignificant against the presence of someone so powerful. He simply nodded, tightening his hold on Sparky. The creature chirped softly, pressing its tiny face into his chest. The princess gestured, and one of her guards stepped forward, bringing a small device that hovered above the ground, spinning slowly. Jason's eyes widened as it scanned Sparky, emitting faint beams of light that reflected off the creature's fur. The glow shifted violently, pulsing through colors he had never seen before: orange, violet, and flickering silver. Sparky whined softly, a mixture of fear and discomfort, but did not try to escape. Jason whispered, "It's okay. I'm here." The creature seemed to understand his words, calming slightly as the scan continued. The scan completed, and the device floated back to the princess. She studied its readings silently, her expression unreadable. Jason could feel her evaluating him, weighing his intentions, testing whether he could be trusted. He wondered if she knew just how fragile their bond had become. Sparky's glow shifted to a soft green as if sensing a temporary relief, but its ears twitched constantly, alert to every sound and movement around them. Jason looked around nervously. The alien forest seemed to press in closer, shadows stretching unnaturally under the moon's light. Strange noises came from the distance, growls, whistles, and the rustling of enormous creatures moving through the terrain. Every instinct told him this planet was dangerous, and being out in the open, even under the princess's watchful eye, was risky. He gripped Sparky tighter, feeling the small creature's rapid heartbeat against his chest. Suddenly, the princess knelt slightly, bringing herself closer to their level. "This creature is my companion," she said, voice softer now but still firm. "It is more than it seems. You have saved it, but that act alone changes the rules of your presence here." Jason's mind raced. He had only meant to help, not to interfere with royalty or unknown power structures. But the seriousness in her eyes told him that what he had done was not a simple mistake. It was an event that could alter his life forever. Sparky stirred in his arms, glowing brighter, the light spiraling around its body. Jason realized the creature was trying to communicate, almost pleading for him to remain calm. He murmured, "I won't let anything happen to you." The princess's gaze flickered to the glow, a subtle acknowledgement passing between her and Sparky. Jason's heart skipped a beat. The connection between them was undeniable, but he still did not understand the depth of the bond or what it truly meant to the princess. A sudden movement behind them made Jason spin around. More guards had appeared, forming a protective circle, their weapons ready but unmoving, as if frozen by the princess's command. Jason could see that this world obeyed her completely. Every being, armored and trained, responded to her presence with strict discipline. He realized that any wrong move, even unintentional, could provoke a severe reaction. His mind raced for a solution, knowing he needed to show respect and caution simultaneously. The princess straightened, lifting her hand to signal the guards to hold their positions. She turned her attention fully back to Jason. "You have courage, and yet ignorance guides your actions. You see only a wounded creature, but the threads of fate are woven tightly here. What you do next will decide much more than the life of this being." Jason's pulse quickened. He had faced danger before, but nothing compared to this moment. Standing before someone whose power could shape worlds, holding a creature that seemed both fragile and extraordinary. He inhaled slowly, keeping his voice steady. "I acted without knowing, but I did what I thought was right. I will not abandon it. I will protect it, no matter what." The princess studied him silently, her glowing violet eyes searching for deception. Sparky's body shifted, glowing brighter and flickering with golden sparks as if it recognized the truth in Jason's words. The air around them seemed to hum, charged with anticipation. After a long moment, the princess stepped back, her posture easing slightly. "Very well, human," she said, voice carrying both authority and a trace of approval. "You may keep it for now, but understand this. Your choices will be watched. Protect it wisely, for its significance goes beyond what you can imagine." Jason nodded solemnly, relief washing over him, but tension remained. The words hinted at dangers and responsibilities he could not yet comprehend. As the night deepened, the alien forest around them grew darker, and the moons cast long, eerie shadows across the ground. Jason stayed close to Sparky, feeling the creature's warmth and sensing the subtle flickers of its glow. The encounter had changed everything. He was no longer just an explorer or a stranger on this planet. He had been noticed, tested, and judged, and the consequences of his actions were only beginning to unfold. Every sound, every movement, every flicker of Sparky's light reminded him that this world was alive with secrets, and he had stepped into the middle of something far greater than he had ever imagined. Jason woke to the soft glow of Sparky's fur. The creature had shifted during the night, curling against him as if seeking warmth. Its body radiated faint light, pulsing in rhythm with its tiny breaths. Jason noticed something new. When Sparky twitched its ears or flicked its tail, the glow shifted colors, blue when curious, red when startled, and a gentle green when relaxed. He realized this little being could communicate emotions without words, a silent language of lights and movements. He offered it some water from his flask. Sparky sniffed carefully, then lapped it eagerly, eyes watching Jason closely. As he tended to the creature, he saw sparks of light dance across its fur whenever it sensed movement outside their cave. Something about the planet seemed attuned to Sparky, as if the environment itself reacted to its presence. Jason felt a mixture of wonder and unease. Every rustle in the alien forest made him tense, and Sparky's reactions confirmed there were predators lurking nearby. Moving carefully, Jason explored the cave's entrance to look for food. Strange plants grew there, some with translucent leaves that shimmered faintly. Using his basic knowledge, he picked a few edible ones and returned to Sparky, who was watching him intently. When he offered the plants, Sparky sniffed them and nibbled cautiously. Jason smiled at the small victory. The bond between them was growing, silent and steady, built on trust and shared survival. As the day progressed, the strange sounds of the planet became more noticeable. Whistles of wind mixed with distant shrieks, the calls of unseen creatures. Every time a sound echoed, Sparky's fur flickered bright red, alert and tense. Jason began to understand its instincts. The creature was more than just an injured animal. It was a sensor, reacting to dangers he could not yet see or hear. Every step he took was calculated, making sure not to frighten it, all while keeping his own guard up. While observing Sparky, Jason noticed patterns in the glow of its fur. It brightened when he approached, dimmed when he stepped back, and even pulsed slightly when it was hungry or thirsty. He tried gently touching its fur, and Sparky did not pull away, but instead shivered faintly, almost as if responding to the contact. Jason realized this creature responded to touch in a way he had never seen before, an emotional connection that was physical, visual, and instinctive all at once. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the forest outside. Jason froze, instinctively moving between the cave entrance and Sparky. The creature's glow shifted to deep red, its tail flicking rapidly. Jason could not see what had caused the noise, but the sound of rushing feet and snapping branches made his heart pound. He whispered softly to Sparky, "Stay calm. I've got you." The small creature pressed closer to him, trembling. Jason could feel its heartbeat racing, matching his own. Minutes passed, but the tension did not ease. Shadows moved among the alien trees, making eerie shapes against the glowing sky. Sparky's fur pulsed with every movement, signaling danger that Jason could not yet identify. He grabbed a makeshift spear from his supplies, feeling the weight of responsibility. Protecting this tiny, glowing creature was no longer just about kindness, it was survival. Every decision mattered. Every step could mean life or death for both of them. Jason noticed small tracks leading from the cave entrance deeper into the forest. They were unfamiliar. Three-pronged prints, much larger than Sparky, moving in irregular patterns. He guessed they belonged to predators, perhaps the same ones that caused the crash. Sparky shivered and emitted a soft, low sound, almost like a warning. Jason crouched beside it, scanning the horizon. He realized the creature's instincts were sharper than his own. Trusting its reactions could save them both. As the day turned to evening, Jason and Sparky ventured cautiously closer to the forest edge, looking for food and water. He noticed how creatures in the distance seemed to react to Sparky's presence. Birds with translucent wings stopped mid-flight, small animals froze, and even the alien plants seemed to sway in unusual patterns. Jason marveled at the connection between the creature and the environment. It was as if Sparky was not just a survivor but a part of the planet's ecosystem, and he had stumbled into something much bigger than himself. A sudden wind carried a scent he could not identify. Sparky's glow shifted violently, red spikes along its fur. Jason followed its gaze and saw movement far away. Tall figures, humanoid but clearly alien, approaching swiftly. His heart raced. They were fast, precise, and definitely aware of Sparky. Jason held the creature close, whispering soothing words, trying to mask his fear. The aliens stopped at a distance, scanning, and Jason realized he had no idea if they were hostile or simply curious. As darkness approached, Jason decided to retreat slightly into the safety of the cave while keeping an eye on the figures. Sparky's glow dimmed to a calm green when he settled down, resting its head on his arm. Despite the danger, Jason felt a deep sense of purpose. He was no longer just a human wandering an alien planet. He was a protector, a companion, and for the first time, a part of something beyond himself. He did not yet know the true importance of Sparky nor the power that would soon be revealed. But for now, their bond was real, and it was the only thing keeping them alive against the strange, unknown world that stretched before them. Dawn broke over the alien forest with a strange, golden light that made every leaf and branch shimmer as if sprinkled with stardust. Jason stirred, careful not to wake Sparky, whose small body still rested against his chest, its glow dim and soft. The night had tested them both, but the morning brought a new kind of tension. The forest was alive with sounds he had never heard, chirps, rustles, and faint mechanical hums that seemed to echo unnaturally from the distance. Jason stood slowly, feeling the weight of responsibility heavier than ever. He had helped this creature, unknowingly stepping into a world of power, politics, and secrets that he could barely understand. Sparky stretched and chirped softly, its glow pulsating in rhythm with the alien sun. Jason whispered, "We need to keep moving. We can't stay here long." The creature responded with a soft hum, as if agreeing to the plan. As they moved cautiously through the forest, Jason noticed strange formations in the terrain, glowing crystals rising like spires from the ground, and pools of water reflecting colors that did not exist in his world. Every step was careful, yet every glance carried unease. The forest was not just alive, it was aware. Shadows seemed to shift toward them, and distant noises made Jason's heart race. He kept his grip firm on Sparky, who glowed brighter whenever danger felt near. Suddenly, movement ahead caught Jason's attention. A patrol of alien soldiers appeared, their armor gleaming in the golden light. They paused when they saw him, scanning, their weapons silent but ready. Jason froze, instinctively raising his hands. Sparky's glow shifted to a warning red, flaring brightly. Jason whispered, "Stay calm. We're not looking for trouble." The soldiers did not approach yet, their silence making the tension unbearable. One of the soldiers stepped forward, a tall figure with a helmet that reflected Jason's own wide-eyed fear. They examined him closely, but Sparky chirped and glowed gold, causing the soldier to hesitate. Jason realized that the creature's presence was giving him some protection, some recognition from these unknown beings. It was more than luck. Sparky had a power, or perhaps a status, that Jason could not yet comprehend. The lead soldier finally spoke in a melodic foreign tone, a voice that resonated in Jason's chest. "You carry what belongs to the princess. Explain yourself." Jason swallowed, aware that any misstep could bring deadly consequences. "I found it injured," he said slowly. "I didn't know who it belonged to. I only wanted to help." Sparky chirped softly, leaning against him as if supporting his words. The soldiers exchanged glances, their stance slightly less rigid, though caution remained. Jason felt the forest around him tense further. Strange vines shifted, small creatures darted between the trees, and distant roars reminded him that he was still in a dangerous world. The soldiers' leader studied him silently, then lifted a hand. Two guards stepped forward, motioning for him to follow. Jason hesitated, unsure if this was a trap, but the presence of Sparky gave him courage. He stepped forward cautiously, keeping the creature close. They led him through winding paths that twisted unnaturally, making him feel disoriented. Strange lights floated around them, responding to Sparky's glow. Jason realized that the creature was somehow interacting with the environment, altering the very space they moved through. It pulsed gently, almost guiding them through hidden dangers. Every instinct told Jason to follow, yet he could not shake the feeling that they were being tested, observed by forces far greater than him. Finally, they reached a clearing where a large structure rose from the ground, metallic yet organic, like a living fortress. Jason's eyes widened. This was clearly important, more than just a residence. It radiated authority, power, and an unspoken warning. Sparky's glow shifted from gold to a calm green, a sign of reassurance. Jason realized they had arrived at the heart of something monumental, the center of the princess's influence. The lead soldier gestured for him to stop. Jason held his breath, feeling every heartbeat thrum in his chest. The creature in his arms chirped softly, almost nudging him forward. Jason understood that the next moments would determine much more than his safety. They could define the relationship between him, Sparky, and the alien princess. He inhaled deeply, steadying his nerves, and stepped into the open space, ready to face whatever challenge awaited. From the shadows of the massive structure, the princess emerged once more, her presence even more commanding in daylight. Her eyes glowed softly, observing him as if weighing every thought he had. Jason felt both fear and awe, realizing fully that this encounter was no longer about an injured creature. It was about trust, loyalty, and the beginning of a bond that could change destinies. He tightened his hold on Sparky, meeting her gaze without flinching, prepared for whatever came next. The alien princess stood before Jason, her violet eyes sharp and unyielding, yet a subtle warmth flickered beneath their intensity. Sparky stirred in his arms, its glow brightening as if sensing the tension and the significance of this moment. Jason could feel the weight of every decision he had made, every step he had taken on this strange planet, culminating in this single instant. The princess's guards formed a precise circle around them, their silence almost deafening, waiting for the verdict of their ruler. "You have proven courage and kindness, human," the princess said, her voice carrying a strange mixture of authority and curiosity. Jason nodded, unsure how to respond, but determined to remain honest. "I acted only because it was right," he replied steadily. Sparky chirped softly, leaning closer to him, its glow radiating reassurance. The princess's eyes flickered to the small creature, and for a moment, her expression softened in recognition of the bond between them. She motioned to her guards, and they stepped aside, creating a path that led into the massive structure Jason had seen earlier. "Follow me," she commanded, her tone leaving no room for argument. Jason moved cautiously, Sparky cradled securely, feeling the strange mixture of fear and anticipation knotting his stomach. Every step echoed in the cavernous hallway, the walls pulsing with faint energy that seemed alive, almost sentient. As they walked, the princess began to speak, her words deliberate and measured. "This creature is more than it appears," she explained. "It carries a legacy, a responsibility, and a power that shapes the balance of my world. By saving it, you have inserted yourself into a web far larger than your understanding." Jason listened intently, his mind racing to process the enormity of her statement. He realized that his simple act of kindness had consequences he could never have imagined. They arrived in a grand chamber, its ceiling high and adorned with glowing patterns that shifted like liquid. Jason's eyes widened at the sight. The place radiated authority and mystery, and the air hummed with a soft energy that made his skin tingle. The princess gestured for him to place Sparky on a raised platform in the center. As he did, the creature's glow intensified, sending beams of light across the chamber, illuminating patterns and symbols that Jason had never seen. The princess stepped forward, her gaze focused entirely on him. "You will remain here, human, under watch, until I determine the true nature of your intentions," she said. Jason's heart sank slightly, but he straightened, meeting her gaze. "I will do whatever is necessary," he replied, feeling a mixture of fear, pride, and responsibility. Sparky chirped in agreement, its glow pulsing gently, as if reinforcing his words. Suddenly, the patterns on the chamber walls shifted, casting moving images that depicted moments from the princess's life, the history of her world, and the role of creatures like Sparky in maintaining balance and order. Jason watched in awe, realizing that he had been pulled into a story far greater than himself. He understood now that his actions would be remembered, judged, and could influence the destiny of this alien world. The princess's voice broke his thoughts. "Your courage, compassion, and respect for life have not gone unnoticed. Sparky has chosen you as its guardian, and through it, you are now tied to the fate of my people." Jason's mind raced with the implications, but he felt a profound sense of purpose. He had acted without thinking, guided only by instinct and empathy, yet the consequences had elevated him to a place of significance he had never sought. As the day passed, Jason learned more about Sparky's abilities and the responsibilities it carried. The creature could communicate in ways beyond his understanding, sense dangers, and even influence the behavior of others around it. Every lesson, every movement, and every interaction was a revelation. Jason realized that survival alone was not enough. He had to understand, respect, and protect the delicate balance of this world. By the time the twin moons began to rise, casting a pale light across the chamber, Jason felt a strange mixture of exhaustion and exhilaration. He had survived threats, navigated alien politics, and formed a bond with a creature whose importance was immeasurable. Sparky nestled against him, its glow soft and reassuring, and Jason knew that this was only the beginning. The princess had not yet spoken her final judgment, but he felt a quiet certainty that their fates were now intertwined. The princess finally spoke again, her tone softer but still commanding. "Tomorrow your trial will continue, human. You will face challenges that will test not only your courage but your understanding, your empathy, and your loyalty. Prepare yourself, for the path ahead is as dangerous as it is extraordinary." Jason nodded, feeling the weight of her words settle over him. Sparky chirped softly, a quiet promise of companionship and trust. Together they would face the unknown, bound by courage, compassion, and an unbreakable connection that transcended worlds.